Here we go. Hi, welcome to Control Talk Now, your smart buildings videocast and podcast for the week ending May 23rd, 2021. This is episode 400. 400 episodes that we know of. There might be more, but hey, for the 400th time, I am saying, let's welcome to the show your host and mine, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Kenny Smyers, the controls man from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kenny Smyers, welcome to the show for the 400th time at least. How you doing, dog?
Eric, it's remarkable. 400 Control Talk Nows, and like you said offline there, we might have had more. We just didn't call it Control Talk Now because now was news of the week. And I remember I was at my kitchen table at a place we used to live at many years ago, and we were coming up with these ideas, and I thought it was remarkable how we were just, we're keeping up with the trends, keeping up with the 10 biggest things that hit the industry, the vendors that were out front, the products that were being introduced, IoT, we went through that 1,000 times. And then we went through cybersecurity, and then we went through, like you said, social media. You had the idea that, there was something lacking from, the clinical, presentation of controls. If you sit there and somebody just goes, hey, we see this new thermostat, see this new valve body or whatever, it lacked, some sort of personality. And I think you helped to bring that. I think Control Trends helped to bring it. I think Control Talk Now really began to focus on it because we literally were tracking trends, and we would come up with a list of the top 10 trends for that year, and we would present them at the show. So,
I think, dude, we got to give them a little history. We got to reminisce a little bit. So first of all, we got a fabulous guest coming up to help us celebrate episode 400. So he'll come on a little bit later. You're going to want to make sure you stay tuned for that. But Kenny, it kind of all started way back Wednesday, as you would say. You and I met for the first time at a Johnson Controls training meeting. And I've known your brother Tommy for years. You just come out of the Air Force and I think started with the business, and we're sitting next to each other, and I look over at you and I said, I'm Eric. And you said, well, what do you do? I said, well, I really paint because I was a painter. I wanted to be a painter, and I just do controls to pay the bills. I said, what about you? He says, well, I'm going to be the next great writer. I'm going to make Ernest Hemingway look like a chump. I'm just doing controls to pay the bills, so to speak.
Well,
and so
I remember exactly what it was. I was reading a book by Sir
Joshua Redmond.
Yeah, Reynolds, and he was the one that warned the king at the time in England that if they wanted to keep up with the Dutch and the the Italian painters, you got to start an academy. You got to go out and get and develop it. And I wound up sending that book. I finished it and I sent it to you, and that began the whole thing. You sent me a couple of books, and we were trading books.
I would see you at meetings, and I'd send you pictures of my paintings. You'd talk about what you're writing. And this was all before Control Talk. Our Control Trends actually started. Control Trends started, I think, in 2007, 2008. And it sort of started because I would hear our technical salespeople, they'd be trying to explain to people, I'd hear them the same thing. Well, no, it's under the cover. You have to remove the cover and go look here to figure whatever you need to figure out. And I kept going, why didn't somebody just shoot a video, right? And so after about the 100th time of asking that, I got really upset one day. I went out and bought a video camera. I came back to the office of video camera going, what the hell am I going to do with this now? And then a vendor comes in, guy from Petro Fiorentini, a gas regulator company. And he goes, can I do a presentation for you? I look at the camera, I look at him, and I go, only if I can video it. So I videoed the presentation. So I had that, and I was going to show it to my people so that we would have a library. So we could have a library of these products. And then from there, it was like, where am I going to put it? And then I discovered YouTube. And then after that, it was, even though we were like the largest Honeywell distributor in the Southeast, if you Googled, this was back when Google was just getting big. We didn't show up. So I started calling people, why are we not showing up? We're Honeywell's largest distributor here, and Johnson Controls and everything else. And they go, well, you got to get Google rankings. Well, how do you do that? Well, you need a blog, and if you put videos on it, your blog will be better. So that's where Control Trends started. So I was just trying to get our where we were found on a Google search, and I would just shoot videos of vendors doing presentations. And so the very first post on Control Trends is the Petro Fiorentini video of this guy doing a demonstration. And I got to tell you, Kenny, in the early days, vendors that wanted to come do presentations, once they found out that I was going to video them, I didn't get too many people that wanted to do it for a while. So for a while, people would not even come to my office. And then when Control Trends got a little bit bigger, they wanted to have their video. So when we first got started, it was primarily, product videos, training videos, product videos, and stuff like that. And I first had the idea, it started, and you'll probably remember this. I don't even know what I called it, but I had like a PowerPoint presentation. I put some music to it, and we go, okay, we got the control news of the week. Honeywell just came out with a new thermostat. Johnson Controls just did this. Siemens just did this. A little short thing with PowerPoint with me talking over it. Okay, so that got pretty boring pretty quick. And then I'm going to let you tell the next part of the story, because when you look at the story of Ken and Eric, we have to thank the folks at Niagara for that, because we were out in Red Rocks.
The Tritium Summit.
The Tritium Summit. And I'll let you take it from there, because you and I see you and I say, Kenny, what have you been writing? We're having a cocktail. We're not having a cocktail.
No. What happened was you made me play hooky for one of the meetings. I was going to a breakout, and I was all serious with my notes. And I was on the business track. My brother was on the technical track, and we were walking side by side. I saw you. I came over to say hello to you, and you said, "I need to talk to you."
First thing I said, "What are you writing these days?" And you said, "I'm not having time to write much." And that's when I said,
yeah, well, that was actually, we got down to the Chase Lounge. So anyhow, I played hooky from this breakout, and we're sitting by the poolside, and it was a beautiful vista. We're sitting on a pool at a resort looking at the famous Nevada Red Rock or whatever it was. And then that's when you asked me, what are you writing about? And I told that I was, just overwhelmed with work, trying to learn, get this, that, and the other certifications, and, doing rollouts and presentations. And you said, well, I have a proposition for you. I have this Control Trends, and I need content. I think it was the first time I heard the word content. I'm thinking, content, that sounds pretty cool. And then next thing you know, we went through just phases. It was just, we used to sit down and just have ideas like, what are we going to do this week? Or what are we going to do? And then the Clint Eastwood character came up. That was your idea. And then we had, what was her name from the science fiction with the she's got Sarah Connors.
Sarah Connor. Yeah.
Sarah Connor. Remember that?
So back in the day, it was so radical when we first started this that you couldn't have I was the only one that had a real identity, right? So Kenny was Clint Eastwood. He wrote a column called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And people call up and go, man, who is this Clint guy? And I said, I can't reveal my sources. And then we had another girl, we actually hired her.
Oh, and then the secret handshake. Remember that?
With Roger, we were desperate to do anything to get views, but it started out, it was fun. So we were doing blogging and stuff like that. And then we came up with the idea for Control News of the Week. And we didn't even call, the reason I say we might have more than 400 episodes, because we didn't even call it Control News of the Week. We just would say, hey, we didn't call like episode whatever. The earliest one I could find, Kenny, was 317. March 17th, 2013. And we would just go, hey, this is the Control News of the Week for March 17th, 2013, right? So we didn't even call it episodes then. We just would go Control News of the Week. And at some point in time, we shifted over and, had episode one.
Yeah, that's when you did that little, where you went, showed the globe and the microphone. And you had an English, voice come across there.
No, it was before that. We had the. I copped the back in the USSR opening. Remember we played that? Right. You're listening to Control Talk Now with your host Ken Smyers and Eric Stromquist. Hi, welcome to Control Talk Now for the week ending April 21st, 2013. Your Control News of the Week. I'm Eric Stromquist, your host, along with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Ken Smyers from the Edward C. Smyers Company. Kenny, welcome to another week of Control Talk Now.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for all the good things you've been doing here for Control Trends and for the community at large.
Well, right back at you. Well, speaking of Control Trends, our sponsor of the week is the Control Trends Award. The 2013 awards, have been announced. Kenny, tell our listeners a little bit if they missed the big announcement this week on Control Trends. Tell them what we have in store for them.
Eric, it's going to be a very exciting show. It's already building. We've got a lot of great people lined up. A lot of great.
Right.
Welcome to Control Talk. Now with Ken Smyers, had the back in the USSR, and Eric Strom.
Then we had to remember light litter, and we went through just a whole bunch of things. We went through artificial intelligence. Remember Dave Lorenzini and Google Glass?
Yeah.
I think we really hit traction was when we went to RealCom, IBCom in 2014 in Las Vegas.
Yeah. So listen, real quick, we got to thank Jim Young and Howard Berger and those guys, because we were just two guys with a camera showed up at our first conference. Jim Young invited us to come. We got to come. We got to cover. He was so kind. He let us interview him. We just gotten a new camera to use, and it was when we interviewed Nino de Cosmo, and we had the little orange square because we didn't know how to take it out. I didn't know how to take it out of whatever mode. So you got Jim Young, and we got this orange square there. We're interviewing. The same thing with Nino de Cosmo.
And then there was a concurrent meeting there, some kind of a technology meeting where you took your camera there, and there was actually a manufacturer rep at the vendor show.
Yeah.
And he showed you how to fix it.
Well, he fixed it, and that's when we met Mark Peacock. And then remember, because it was an AV show.
Oh yeah,
so they had this big stage with the green screen. So Mark Peacock got a bunch of his friends.
Intelligent Buildings. He got Tom Shirtcliffe and
Intelligent Buildings.
That was remarkable.
And we sat up on the stage and did an episode of Control Talk now there too.
So now we're at episode 400. We did the Control Trends Awards. We had participation with over 110 countries. We had over 300 million views of Control Trends. So I mean, it's been a long sustained story that and we've just. I remember you said we had to shift from products because they're just not interesting to people. So we began the interviews. And I remember Mike Marston for the first time. The guy was a wizard. You called him Mad Mike Marston, the Beast from the East. Remember that?
The Beast with Easy IO. Yeah, absolutely.
And then the Haystack. We were at the original Haystack meeting. And, how that got real interesting.
Well, and I guess a special thanks, Kenny, because so many people were so gracious to us over the years with interviews. John Petsy always came through. Jim Young, I mentioned, Lars Vonderhagen, and Warner Buck from
Chris Eichmann.
Oh yeah, Chris Eichmann, Mike Keller from Honeywell, Roger Reemack when he was at Honeywell. I mean, so many people just
Laura Kevitt. I mean, we just
were really, really gracious and came on. And then we met some real characters along the way, like Josh Bradshaw. Remember him, the King and Queen?
Oh yeah.
I remember Therese Sullivan back when she was with BuildingContext.me, right?
Yeah. Oh, and then and going after that real comment, Silicon Valley. That's where we got into artificial intelligence and virtual reality, blockchain, just all this, Bitcoin, things that we were bringing the new messages from outside of the industry back into, home base and Control Trends. So people really, I think, understood what we're trying to do. And the mission statement that you came up with was marvelous because it was just be a conduit, be a place where people could come in. And then remember the third-party verification, how vendors were having trouble with some of their marketing, and you needed testimony, you needed case studies where people really, truly used your product or used your solution and were satisfied with it to the point they were willing to make a statement for you on your behalf. So we were collecting all these, third-party, recommendations, where superintendents and different people that were selling different or had their systems were installed in their communities or their college campuses or whatever. So
I think what we became was a parallel channel for these great marketing companies to use. The major vendors. They had their own marketing to do a really good job with it. To your point, especially with the younger folks coming up, they typically don't go to a vendor's website per se. I learned this from my wife. She would never do that. She would always go to, you say third-party verification. Somebody's writing a review or something like that. So we did that. And Ken, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention our good friend Ken Sinclair and all that he's done for us over the years with automatedbuildings.com. Just so many really good people.
Yeah, because I was poaching his going to his website and getting all this fabulous information. I mean, you could go, and that was back, I think in 2012 down in Dallas, we met him. He came to the Control Trends Awards. Remember, it was down at the Country and Western place down there. Jimmy Dean's. what was it? Oh, I'll think of it in a second.
The
Anyhow,
site of the first Control Trends Award.
I can't remember. I know it's in Dallas. And then we went to New York next year. Remember, that was when we
BB Kings, yeah.
And that was remarkable.
Yeah, and of course, mention Nino and the Cosmo, Kenny. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the godfather of controls.
Mr. Ed Merwin. Yeah, I'll tell you what, he was probably, it reminds me of a professor that could actually, build something that he was teaching about, and as far as sales and marketing, I don't think anybody could get up, stand up and start talking about very important things as quickly and as efficiently and as well, explained as Ed Merwin. He had both in the layman's terms and the technical stuff. So he's
absolutely. Mix. Well, God and Kenny, I remember we did
James Johnson too. Remember him?
James. Oh yeah. First person won technical person of the year.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
James Johnson was great. Still, just legendary people. And remember we went to Virginia and we did that interview with, we're doing Control Trends people.
Renee Prakash. I think it was.
Oh no, it was Renee, but no, we also did John Sublett. Remember the thing?
Oh yeah, that was a John Sublett, man. J2 and Scott.
Yeah, well, what about getting to interview the
Scott
Franks, man? Of course.
Oh yeah, and Jerry Frank. Oh yeah. Oh, Brian Frank.
Brian Frank and the whole team, man. So God, we met so many cool people. And I think, Kenny, that's what I'm most thankful for. It's been an opportunity to really get to meet and talk to great people. I mean, just think how much we learned about cybersecurity from Fred Gordy, for example, right?
Oh yeah.
And we met Billy the Kid Rios, and we learned about black hats and white hats and gray hats, and
sure did. And then how that really caught on. I mean, look at it now. Now we were on the front edge of that because of Fred having such concerns, and he was up on the stage at Tritium Summit. Then he went to Realcomm, and that's where we really realized how IoT, you had the, IT infrastructure, but you had OT, operational technology became the buzzword for, that was a trend, one of the top trends was operational technology, understanding what it was, and understanding the how BACnet was vulnerable and, what you needed to do to put some security between you and the bad guys,
Oh, man, Kenny, the other one too, George Thomas, Contemporary Controls, and that group, man, what an innovative group of characters those guys are, huh?
Well, you know what? He was the father of networks, and he was so generous. He gave away that book that we put on Control Trends. That I'm sure a lot of people exploited that opportunity. But he really was. He started out in his basement. It was a wonderful interview with him about where he was, and he was out of Chicago, an engineer. Started had this idea, and then next thing you know, they're global. They actually have a German location, and I got a kick out of that because I live in Germany.
But again, such a gracious, knowledgeable guy, and has always supported the Control Trends Awards and helped us with that. And then, and God, we got so many new cool people like Alper, right?
Right, Ulsmesler, yeah,
and his cool stuff. So, well, and of course, it was so cool too because we watched it change when Scott Cochran and Brian Turner were actually young. Remember those days? And man, they had all these great ideas and were sort of reinventing distribution and what the distributors are about. And look at them now; they're old.
Well, yeah, and they put some direction into the industry that wasn't there. They did. Remember Jim Young, the Master Systems Integrator? We were bedazzled by that term, Master Systems. What? That is cool. And then Chris Lane was another guy. There was a very nice, smart. And
super good guy.
Yeah.
But Chris Lane hated Clint. God, did he hate Clint? Every time Clint would do a good, the bad, the ugly interview, Chris Lane was always jumping down Clint's throat. So. Little did he know. And
Mark Villeneuve, and then our other MC. From the Control Trends Awards.
Oh yeah, Mark Peacock has just been
a
great friend over the years, and Kim Brown from Cochran Supply, and wow, it's been a great ride, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if everybody wants to hear all this any more than this. If they do, we'll have a round two. But it's been a heck of a ride, and I want to thank you personally too for getting me on board. It was a very interesting, kind of spontaneous, meeting that brought it together. We put a lot of time into it. If people knew how many hours and how many times where everybody else is playing Christmas, we're playing Control Trends.
Oh, dude, my wife, I just gotta say, she threatened to divorce me for this because, and I couldn't afford another wife, but she goes, you spend so much time on Control Trends, you love Kenny more than me. Now she's got a podcast. She and her girlfriend got a podcast called This Spiritual Fix. They're number 5 on Apple.
I saw that. That's very
Yeah,
impressive.
they're rocking and
Congratulations.
rolling. And
Yeah.
so now I look at her and go, "You like her more than you like me." And she goes, "What are you talking about? It's just a podcast." I mean, anyway, dude, it's but what fun. What fun. So hey man, hopefully we'll get to cover some more conferences. And I think our motto should be have microphone, will travel.
Cool. But listen, maybe we should go into our guest and then
let's
wrap
do
it up.
Yeah, I'm so pumped about our guest, Kenny. I mean, you talk about somebody who has had a company, has been around, been innovative. I mean, let's call him a trendsetter. Let's call this company a trendsetter. So I'm so excited about having him on this show and hearing what they've been up to, what they're going to be up to, and how about introducing our guest, Kenny?
Eric, I'd love to. We have the president of Distech Controls, Martin Villeneuve, is joining us on our episode 400. Welcome to the show, Martin.
Martin, thanks so much for being with us and taking some time to be with us on this. Obviously, it's a big deal for us, episode 400. So we've been doing this a little while, but not quite as long as you've been doing Distech Controls. So for our audience out there, tell us a little bit about the concept and why you got it started and sort of a little bit about the early days with Distech.
Yeah, thank you for asking, Eric. I just want to start by thanking you guys for what you do in the community. 400 episode is it's a big milestone. It means that you have longevity. And as a matter of fact, I was recruiting some of new expertise in the company, and some of them are listening to your episode diligently. And some of them are coming to work in our company because they saw one of us, either me or any of our colleagues at Distech. And it means that you're doing a really great job in the industry, and thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Martin. Yeah, for sure.
About your question, we started in the industry as I said many times now, as a BMS contractor, as a system integrator that couldn't find a product we needed in the market, so we decided to develop our own. And it was the rise of the open technology, LawnWorks and BACnet. So we arrived right at a good time. And then we focused rapidly on innovation, R&D, and developing the channel around the world. And it has been a fun ride for the last 20 years.
Well, very good. And so you've seen a lot of changes. Like I said, it's obviously, starting when open system technology was just becoming in vogue. And that was one of the trends Kenny and I covered right off the bat was, the advent of open systems and how important that was versus proprietary. And then your product line has really, really evolved over the years. What would you say was your next big innovation after the open technology?
Yeah, I believe the open technology itself have lived an important evolution over the years. Before, it was only the open technology amongst the BMS manufacturer and the BMS equipment, such as, like we said at the beginning, LawnWorks communication, BACnet communication, and BACnet IP communication. But now, this open communication is going to a much broader aspect than that, and really communicating with other systems. Initially, we thought that we need a gateway in order to do so. And gateway, I know it's a bad word in our industry. It needs to be natively speaking, being open. And this is the evolution that we've lived. The building automation protocols have met with the IoT industry and the general IT communication protocols. And I think the one who have been able to listen to the market and being in front of the market in order to communicate with other IoT and other IT providers are going to be the one who's going to win on the long term.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, Martin, like Eric said, Distech has always been pace setting. When we first met you, we were very impressed. But then when you guys were acquired by Acuity, I mean, things went into overdrive. It was an explosion of technology and presence. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, very interesting acquisition. A lot of times acquisition in our industry end up not necessarily in a happy ending. meaning that they are integrated. We're losing the brand, losing a little bit the identity, and effectively losing in innovation because of lack of investment in R&D. In this tech, it was the exact reverse. So most of the team stayed at this tech after the acquisition, including myself, and there was a lot of investment. So investment in two parts. One part is the development, the engineering, the research and development, and the other part was the market development. So when we thought we were winning a little bit in the North American market, we were only in the single-digit market share. So there was some room to take expansion. There was some room to communicate better on our product offering and recruit the best system integrator in the market. So this is what we've done on the commercial aspect, and I would say fill the white space. And on the R&D, there was some specific project that was joined with Acuity. We've communicated in the past about the targets and other retail environment in which we're doing indoor positioning, helping retailers to understand where the people are, where the stuff is. And this help us to innovate a lot on the edge technology. So we found out that having everything on the cloud was a little bit overwhelming, probably also too costly to move everything to the cloud. So there was this need of edge control, in which we beefed up our Eclipse line, and a little bit after now are coming up with our Eclipse Apex. So this is one thing, but also we've also invested a lot in our core product technology for the BAS market, and focus on innovation for SIs, focus on innovation for end users, and then the third one was to develop the community. So this is what I'm glad to say, that it was a successful partnership with Acuity so far since 2015.
Well said. Well said.
Go ahead, Kenny.
No, I just again, the way you brought that all together, to me, you were creating a culture. A very positive, a very successful culture that people, was a magnetic force. And I think that really caught on in North America.
Well, I think so too, Kenny. And what I really like, Martin, is I like the way you guys sort of, view the marketplace. And I think this is, an emerging trend, if you will. Just the fact that when you look at your customer sets, you have innovation for SIs, which, there are, anybody that's in the controls industry right now has those sorts of innovations. And you guys have some very specific ones, which I'd like to get into a little bit. But then the fact that you also have really come out and developed an innovation for end users, and also developing the community, which is, I think, so forward reaching. I haven't seen a lot of people yet really focus on developing for the community. And that's really inclusive of a lot of things. I'd like to get into that as well. But let's get back. Let's start with innovation for the SI. Let's talk about the Eclipse series. What makes that special, in your opinion?
Yeah. Basically, well, in innovation for SI, we've done since it's a program inside of this tech, it's something that is constantly that we are investing constantly in. So first, Eclipse came out of a need in Europe, especially in 2010. I would say we saw that every mechanical room were already equipped with an IP RJ45 connections. So the IT guys were coming up in the mechanical room and say, hey, here's your connection plug, your IP address, and here you go. And at the time, 2010, we were still installing and providing to SI, BACnet MSTP, and Loanworks. So we said, interesting. And since the European market is a little bit more advanced than the rest of the world, we started developing this IP line for this need. And this is why we came out with Eclipse line in 2015. And not only as a mimic of what you could find on MSTP or LAN, just with a different media, but really with all the bells and whistles and the feature set of IoT in 2015. And the power of this tech is to be able to develop for a market, see the new trends in a specific market, but not doing something only for this market, but doing something for worldwide. This is why we have a global R&D. And I think this is a tremendous advantage that I don't want to give the secret recipe to my competitor, but this, this is really a weapon that we have, an unfair advantage that we have inside of this tech. So Eclipse was the foundation of what started to what helped this tech to lead in the market and not only be a fast follower. Then building on that, we developed other programs like Velocity X. Velocity X is a program that you can auto commission your controllers. And lately to this program of Velocity X that contains much more than the auto commissioning, but we've added the auto code generation of GFX. So we call it Builder. So this was a dream that we had in our minds since 2000s that, hey, we said one day we're not going to have to code all the sequence of operation over and over from a project to another, but only by checkbox and question and answer, the code is going to be generated by itself. That could help not only a system integrator to be faster on the job and out of the job, but also having continuity and I would say an harmonization amongst all the project that they've done, and helping alleviate the challenge that all the industry is living now, which the employment challenge.
Yes.
The challenge to hire.
The Distech line evolve and mature, and it's just everywhere you went, you took specific focus on solving things. So, like you say, the innovation for SIs, innovation for end users, and developing a community. One of the remarkable things I thought was your interface that you have with the user. You always thought about the user's perspective. And then when technology became more prevalent and everybody had a smart device, you guys, Distech was one of the first companies to really exploit that relationship and gain the familiarity and confidence of customers. Tell us a little bit about that evolution.
Yeah, very interesting. When we did this acquisition in Europe, this company was specialized into smart room controls, into the automation in the room of the sunblind, the lights, and the HVAC. And we sell, and we still sell today, what we call a remote control. So you don't have to walk to the thermostat in order to change the parameters. So like now, we are in a meeting. We don't have the time to say, oh, excuse me, I'm going to change the parameters because I have glare on my screen. So you want to do it from your desk. So it requires a remote control. So the evolution of that, it was, believe it or not, it was an infrared remote control that we still sell today. You point at the multi-sensor and then here you go, and you can change the parameters. Now we had an evolution of that to a Bluetooth remote control, a BLE5 with long range, and then long life batteries. But we said, hey, we have a smartphone now. So why not having the app on your phone itself and not having to walk to the thermostat in order to change the parameters? And sometimes you don't even have a thermostat because the walls are made of glass, and end users and property owner are constantly repartitioning the walls. So they don't put something on the wall, they just put a return air sensor. And this is for the temperature of the room. So then the need of having an app was pretty much there for a long time. So we've applied this also, like I said earlier in the interview, we've applied this technology internationally after. And then having the app for the comfort interface, a lot of customers came to us and say, hey, there's much more we need to do with this app. So there's now that you have indoor positioning in the room, that you have a Bluetooth multi-sensor, we can locate where the people are. So why not helping to reserve a conference room, see if the room is occupied, how many, now we're working on counting the people inside of the room, mapping and having a route through your next meeting in the next conference room. Maybe it's in the same space, maybe in the same building, but maybe in another place in the complex. So things like that, reporting things that are broken. You go to the coffee machine, you go to the restroom, and something is broken, and you want to report it. Sometimes you don't even know who to report this on. So this is included now in what we call a workplace app. We call My Personified Workplace. So we've listened to the need of the end user, and the end user had a preference for all this technology to come from the BMS provider, because the BMS provider is usually the incumbent in the building. So do you give this to the security guy, to the camera guy, to the whatever technology IT guys? But what end user have told us now for many years, so this is a constant voice of customer that we've had, is that they want the BMS provider to provide the system or provide a good interface with the right IoT link if you are not the provider. So this is exactly what we do. If you want the app, we have the app. If you have your own app, then we're going to give you every functionality from an IoT communication perspective to include the parameters coming from the BMS in your app. And we're not going to try to lock anybody's down from a business model to our own app. We are completely agnostic from that, and we're completely open. So this is what we talk at the beginning. Being open from a BMS interface and exchange temperature information, it's one thing, but now exchange how an app would communicate with the BMS system without having to understand the nitty-gritty details of the BMS world, by having open interface with deep link, with cloud, or directly REST API or MQTT. So this is what we have developed over the years.
Okay, Martin. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. For our listeners out there who, because obviously, COVID is something that everybody's been dealing with globally, and people are starting to come back to the buildings. And among other things, what I'm hearing in this, Martin, with your touchless system. So if I'm an end user, the fact that your system is now touchless makes it more, sanitized. The fact that we can now start to count people in and out of spaces, all these things, or work in conjunction with making buildings safe for people to come back into. So fair statement that you guys are really sort of, dialed up to help solve the COVID problem.
Yeah, I don't want to say that we are the only, but we're a big part of the ingredient, and we might be also the container of all the ingredients. I don't want to say that we're the expert into all the aspect. We're trying to do our best, and we're working in partnership with other companies that may have specialized themselves into specific apps or specific customer needs to be the most open BMS provider to future-proof the building. So what we really wanted to have is that the building owner don't have to be concerned or stressed out that when they build a building that they decide now, and it's going to be probably completed in 3 years from now, that it's already obsolete. And then in 10 years from now, for sure, they need to replace because of whatever new technology have happened. What we focus on is really to future-proof your investment. A building would last for how long? Hundreds, let's say 100 years. We believe that the control system must live as long as possible, and probably live through a major renovation and maybe a second one. So yeah.
No, I think it's great. And I want to mention too that you guys, this I think comes under all these categories, but in terms of developing the community, your marketing team has come out with a really great show called DCTV, Distech Controls TV, and I've been fortunate enough to be involved in that, and you guys. It's awesome. So, episode 1, we talk about open systems and really do a deep dive into how to make sure your system is open, which is the heart of being future ready, right? And you guys are very cognizant of that, do a great job with it. Number 2 is you're building safe and have healthy. That's episode 2. And we talked with some of your folks at Acuity. And you guys have strong expertise in UV lighting and understanding of that. And it also integrates very nicely with the Distech control system. And then episode number 3 is, about K through 12, getting people back to schools. And again, these all work hand in glove to sort of educate the community so that they can make really good choices. So, again, I think you guys are doing a marvelous job of bringing diverse technologies together, some that you have, that you own, but also making it where other people can latch onto your system. So very proud of you guys for that. Really, really good stuff.
Thank you for that, Eric. Yeah, the DCTV initiative is very good. I'm very proud of the team that I've worked on this. And along with that, we've made the investment into what we call business development managers. So, during the pandemic, do you know how many folks we have hired during the pandemic?
No.
65.
Exactly. We've hired 65 new employees during the pandemic.
Wow.
So our mojo, our strategy is to get out of the crisis stronger, even stronger than we were entering it. And this is exactly what we've done. So on the 65 employees that we've welcomed in the team, 20 roughly are in product development aspect, 17 in sales and marketing, 14 in business operation, because we really need also to work on the business in order to support the growth. The rest in customer experience and the DCES team as well, the enterprise service system. So really proud of what we've done here, and the results are there as we are getting out of the crisis now. We've seen our first time of triple-digit growth.
So congratulations! Wow.
Well, Martin, I just was trying to sum it up because it's just remarkable again, because we were there early on and we watched your success and your growth, and of course I have the Control Trends sign up here for a reason. The Control Trends Awards was that your success is it's very well documented. The growth year after year in triple-digit growth. I'm very few vendors can make that assertion. The personnel, like you say, it's hard to get good people now. You mentioned that earlier. There's a shortage of people that want to come into our markets, our business. Our HVAC is a strange acronym to many people, but look at the magnetic pool you guys got. Other people are advertising real hard for people and are having difficulty getting it. Where Distech, the culture, brought them in. They saw what they saw what Distech was all about, and they wanted to stay there and become Distech people. So that is a really strong credit too. And then the innovation. We got to see some of the innovation at the highest level. You have an award that you give out every 2 years, I believe, to the single building that represents that what you were saying before. And Eric, you mentioned again, Distech is very good at what it does, but it provides that future-proof framework to allow people to take their building and keep up with the future and add new dimensions to it. So is that you going to have that again, or did COVID kind of ruin that cycle?
Yeah, no, definitely. We're continuing that, and even we're moving to a yearly event of prizes of the best system integrator, best growth, and best technology in the building as well that was implemented. So we're moving to a yearly now. This was done during the pandemic, a little bit more privately with our customers, but yeah, we've done an event on this. And I'm happy to say as well that we're going to restore our the partner conference that we have with our system integrator, and this is going to be next year in June in California.
Oh, that's going to be great. I want to echo what Kenny said, Martin, because we did get to go. Kenny and I went and actually covered for Control Trends, the celebration of the building in Washington, D.C. And what impressed me was it wasn't just the integrator, the consulting engineer, the vendor, which was you guys. It was also the tenants in the building. You guys somehow got them involved, and they were part of this celebration, and just sort of the pride that they took in their facility and the fact that they had been, had given input on the building. It was just a marvelous project. And I think it really gets to the fact that you guys are not just thinking about controls. You're not just thinking, although you are thinking about controls and making a better product, you're not just thinking about the systems integrator, but you are thinking about the systems integrator, making it more profitable and better. But you're also thinking about the end users and what to do with them, but then also in developing a community that's inclusive of these moving parts that typically move separately and interface only when they have to. So speak a bit about how you guys are continuing to develop the community, if you would.
Yeah, in terms of community, so there was 3 big initiatives that we started in the last year. So first, it was the donation to equip schools throughout the countries. So we believe that the next generation of engineers that are coming out of our schools needs to know much more about HVAC controls. As you said, Ken, a few minutes ago, it's HVAC industry. It's a wild mix of electrical engineering, software engineering, and mechanical engineering. So the more we can equip those schools, the more we do, the better we will be as a community. Then we started a pilot program with our business advisory console in order to help them recruit. So we found out that there was a need in the market where most of our SIs told us that, hey, if I could hire 10 guys tomorrow, I would do so. And then they need to shop around for potentially a recruiting firm and then explain what is HVAC controls over and over. So imagine if this tech has 500 SI, so it's 500 individual SI trying to explain what is our market to recruiters around the world. So specifically in North America, we did a pilot program where we selected recruiters that we were already doing business with at this tech and Acuity, and some other that we put in the mix and say, hey, we give you a challenge. In North America, we have that amount of SIs that represent times 10 that they want to hire, that represent a volume of the people that needs to be recruited and hired and trained. So do you want to be part of it? So we are in the midst of finalizing the pilot program with our restricted number of business advisory console members, and then this is going to be deployed throughout the system integrator community. So that's the second thing. So the donation, the pilot program in recruiting, and then the Symbiose program. So this was started in Europe earlier. As I said, Europe is always sometimes leading the way from a technology and an innovation point of view. So this is to regroup the business expert in all the domain of the building connectivity. So for example, we are not expert into cleaning company now. In order to optimize their work, they want to know, okay, what room was occupied? Because you don't need to go clean every room and to empty every basket of every room. So they want to partner with BMS company that knows where the people were during the day and only target those places. But this is just one example. There's many other examples, the parking lot optimization, analytics, whatever. And there's more than 100 connections that could be done with the BMS system. So we partner, we created a community around those, let's say, 100 most important specific domain area that the end user have told us, and say, okay, we're going to test the connectivity with the BMS. Is it through REST API, Edge, IoT Edge, cloud? So we're going to test all of this. And as a community, we're going to make sure that for the end user, that it's working. That when we say that we have a future-proof environment, then it's really true. And the building owner feels safe in that environment because it's not only one provider. You know, when you're a big consortium, maybe you have a lot of those pieces of the puzzle, but maybe you're not the best of the breed. And for sure, you're going to try to push your own product. But it's hard for the end user to understand or to determine, oh, is it really the best one? Or is it because this provider, it's the only product that they have? So that's why we developed this community of open system on the from an IoT perspective. And now, as it was tested in Europe for the last couple of years, now we're going to start deploying this worldwide. We don't have a name yet, but we're going to come out with this very soon.
That's exciting, Martin. So exciting. Kenny, any final questions before we let Martin go?
I think Martin, he ran right into it, because I was going to say, what can we expect in the future? What's next? And I know you don't want to give the secret sauce away either, but I just, again, it's exciting to see that you're on such a role, to speak, and how success breeds success. It draws the right people to your organization and strengthens it, from the ground up. And that you took on 65 people during a period of time where a lot of people were pulling back on the reins and trying to just, maintain, the status quo through a very challenging time. So well done. And again, Eric and I looked through some of the histories, with you and Distech, and how, we've watched your success over the last 8 years. It's just been amazing. It's put a lot of blue water between yourself and your other competitors. Yeah.
Thank you for that. A very fun ride over the years, and stay tuned for our latest product edition that are going to be launched, as a matter of fact, next month. And I'm talking about the best stat on the market, the Eclipse stat. So we're adding a new member to the family of Eclipse.
Nice.
And the second one is Eclipse Apex. So you know what Apex mean? It's the top of the mountain, the pinnacle. So this is going to be something that's going to change the industry. That's really going to change the industry. What's tough for us now is that now that we try to lead the market. So a lot of people are looking at us on what we're going to put on the market for them to try to catch up. And we did put Eclipse in 2015, and now we're putting the other version of Eclipse, which is Apex, in 2021. So stay tuned for that.
Absolutely, Martin. Well, listen, we will definitely, when the new product comes out, we'll make sure that our audience on Control Trends knows all about it as soon as that's announced. Your marketing team's great at keeping us in the loop. We will post stuff on Control Trends. Martin, thank you for coming and celebrating episode 400 with us. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. And again, congratulations for the 400th event.
Thank you so much.
All right, Martin, one thing. Give Lauren a hello from us, and Scott Hamilton. Tell him we said hello, and hope he's doing well and she's doing well in your team.
Definitely.
But Martin was a very generous. I remember the first time I met him, he was just so, nice. He was, just friendly and excited about his position. He told us the story of how he was able to develop one product at a time. But now when Acuity bought Distech, now he could work on 3 or 4 products at the same time. He had the bandwidth to do it. So it was very, very interesting story that we got to hear from up front. And you talk about Nino DeCosmo too. That was an interesting thing. When Nino left Tritium, but we knew him in his prime, and he loved to be interviewed because he knew that we had an opportunity to disseminate information quickly. And then so
Yeah. Well, we have, I mean, not to toot our own horns, but we have really been a conduit for somebody. I mean, I think along the way, if you had a newer product, and I think EasyIO saw this early on, and they were very supportive of us. So thanks to Mike and Lim and the rest of the team there. But I think they saw us as a way that they could get out in front of our audience, and our audience has grown. I mean, I just checked, I think we're over 15,000 YouTube subscribers now. And we've got the podcast people, we got all this other stuff. So I don't know. And, if you think about it, I was checking, Kenny, episode 100, it was podcast only. And that was back in 2014. And it was making your building smarter using big data. We were talking about that in 2014. Episode 200 and episode 300, we were with our friends at Johnson Controls. One was a conference in Arizona, and the second one was a conference in Nashville, Tennessee. So, Chris Eichmann, somebody we need to just say a big thanks to, because Chris along the way has been very helpful to us. And
also, don't forget the guys from KMC and the remarkable support they gave us.
Yeah. Richard Newberry and
right.
the team there, and what great products they do. And I mean, we'll probably forget somebody, but there've been so many great folks, Kenny, that we're just really grateful.
As soon as we began that Control Trends Awards, and the sponsor things, those guys were all right on the top. ACI was always right. Award, and so we look at some of the people, Linkspring, and it just goes on and on. Honeywell, Belimo, KMC, remember Optergy?
Oh yeah,
Johnson Controls, Connect Air. Functional devices.
Angie Jarvis, and then absolutely, and
then we got some international where Global Control 5 became the Polish company. So it's just been a remarkable. And then lastly, I wanted to say was the summits and how they took us around the world. We actually were mostly EasyIO global summits. We were in Manchester, England, Madrid, Spain,
Paris,
France.
Oh my God! I got pictures of us in front of the Roman Coliseum, man, doing our thing there. So the question becomes, Kenny. I mean, we were professional athletes. Is this where we just say episode 400? It's been real. It's been fun, and we do the mic drop, and we just we ride off into the sunset, or do we have something else to offer?
Eric, I think we're going to have to be continued, and let some suspense and mystique develop, and find out.
Yeah, I think we might have to reinvent ourselves. And as much as we love doing this show, I don't know. It feels like maybe we're not creating the same sort of value. So if you guys have any suggestions for us, reach out and comment. Kenny and I, we just don't know until we know, right, Big Dog?
Yep. I agree. I like that analogy of the sportsman, to go out, on a good career-ending event. Or, do you try to get traded and struggle and whatever?
Well, I tell you what, this might be the last time I do this, at least in this format. A special thanks to our guest, Martin Villeneuve from Distech Controls. And a special thanks to your host and mine, the man, the myth, the legend. We appreciate you tuning in. Remember, be bold, stay in control, and stay relevant.
Indeed, Eric.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers. And that's a wrap. You got a mic we can drop?